As we go into our last week of distance learning, I wanted to present to you the project we normally would do as a semester exam, but it's a very fun project, so I thought I would have you do it. I'm going to need you to make a picture, and we're going to write the functions of the lines that make our picture in a special graphing program so that you can see your picture come to life. So I have included in Google Classroom a piece of graph paper for you to either print and draw on, or if you have a touch screen or an iPad kind of computer where you can draw on it yourself. And I will need you to send me your drawing before you start on the actual computer work. Your picture needs to include both linear and quadratic functions and one circle. Last week we did circles, they were pretty easy. You need to have at least 18 total functions. That means that if we have one circle, the rest can be linear and or quadratic. You need to have at least one of all three of those. However, if you're doing linear, you can have no more than 2 horizontal and 2 vertical lines that will be included in your 18. So if you have 2 going across and 2 going up and down, that's 4 out of your 18. And if you do more than that, they won't count towards your 18. Any restrictions that you put on your domain and your range of your function will be in your Desmos document. Make sure your drawing is appropriate. And again, I will need you to sketch your picture out on graph paper beforehand, and you can snap a picture and send it to me on Classroom or just email it to me as long as I can see before you start. You're going to send me your Desmos link to your picture. You can do it on this document. And there you go. So this is not going to be due Friday. I'm going to give you a week and a half to do this. This is going to be due Wednesday the 27th by 3:40. Here is the grading criteria. Each equation is worth 5 points, 18 required functions, so that's 90 possible points. Only 18 equations will be graded, but you can include as many equations as you want. One must be a circle, and the other 17 can be linear, quadratic. If you want to throw an exponential in there, you can. That one is not required. 3 points each that your graph matches your equation, 2 points for your domain and range being stated correctly, 10 for creativity. So here is an example. So if I was to make a smiley face, this would be my sketch. And then I could say, okay, so number 1 here is a quadratic equation. You can see it crosses down here at -2, x squared minus 2. But I need it to stop. So we didn't learn to write our domain and range this way. We would say -3.25 is less than x is less than 3.25, and that will stop, and I'll show you how to do that on the program. This one does have a horizontal line at y equals 9. That would be the eyes. And so on. You can use standard form, you can use vertex form. That may be a little bit easier for you. So when you do the program, and in Classroom, sorry, there is a piece of graph paper for you. So you're just going to go DESMOS, and you're going to go to Start Graphing. Once it tells you that, you're going to need to log in with your Google. And once you do that, you can start creating stuff. So let's say I have y equals 2x minus 5. There's my line. And then you'll need to use the braces, which if you're using a regular keyboard are above the brackets next to the P. Hit the shift button and I can say, you know, I want this to go from -4 is less than x is less than, I want it to go to +2. And you can see here, I can even -4 to +2. There's my line. And you can go through, you can change colors of lines. You can mess around with this. I'm going to show you a couple of old ones. This one is a barn. You can see that this person used up here, he used vertex, or this was his circle. If you want to figure out the shading, there's some tutorials on that. So on a circle, obviously, unless you're going to use a quarter circle or a half circle, you don't need a domain and range. Here is one of his horizontal lines. Now you can see that he had several. He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then he had all of these here. So the first 4 did count in his 18. However, after that they did not. So if you scroll down, you can see he has a lot of vertical and horizontal, but he had a total of 58, so he was okay there. Another one, here's a Hamilton logo. This person needed some extra lines, so they drew a person, but you can see their star. Let's see. Here is, this one was super duper elaborate. This one was the LA Galaxy soccer logo. And the Major League Soccer logo. So this one, I don't expect it to be quite this elaborate. This particular person had a ridiculous number, 192 equations, but I do want you to see how they were able to put their domain. Sometimes you'll need to use a range. So for this particular equation, it's down here. So you can see that they used a circle equation, but then they set their domain and their range to cut it off where they needed to. If you're using an iPad for this, which is totally fine, there's going to be a keyboard here where you can have your numbers. There's your X, there's your Y, there's your squared, your inequalities. To get to the braces, you'll need to hit the ABC, and they're down here. So lots and lots of different ways for you to do this. We had Ferb, I've had Batman, I've had all kinds of different, here's a Kermit the Frog, all kind of Avenger logos, Superman, Spider-Man, all of those. But remember, you really only have to have 18. Here's a turtle. Now this one had a lot of circles in it. So keep in mind that only one of these circles is required. The rest was linear and quadratic. So here's a quadratic, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They ended up, there was a circle. And then we had 7, some linear, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We already had one circle, 13. So I will go through and count this, 14, 15. We had some more circles. So this one did not get full credit because they only had 15 actual equations that worked. So make sure you're counting that. Now keep in mind, this does not save automatically. Okay, so that's a super duper big deal. You know, what did I have earlier? 2x minus 4. If you do not hit save, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to be very frustrated because it's going to make sure that if you don't hit save, it's not going to do it. So you need to change up here on titled graph, put your name here, whatever, save. And that will change here, but you have this green button. You're going to have to periodically click this green button for it to save. Otherwise, your work's going to be all gone and you're going to be really angry. When your project is done, you can go to Share Graph and you want to copy your image, your link, and then you'll go back to your project template and you can paste it, anywhere on here, or you can do it as a separate document for me, and it will paste that link, and that's how I can get to your graph to grade it. Okay? Good luck. Please let me know if you have any questions.